What is up, YouTube? This is your host, Ranee B, here to spill some family-flavored homicidal tea. Today's case, it's a blend that will leave you wanting for nothing more. Nothing more than just to wish you had never heard this story.
This bitch can't be serious.
Exactly. So you'll be glad to be done with this cup of tea. That just trust, sweetie. It has got the worst cast of the most unsavory characters that I may have ever experienced. As always, please like, subscribe, and share on social media to get the word out that I'm just still out here trying to get victim stories told for everyone to hear. Now, I do have to watch my language.
What?
Because I heard a rumor that the algorithm is cranky lately and doesn't really like curse words in the first few minutes of a video. So that really is a challenge for me, considering the F word is my go-to. Classy. Anyway, back to the case. Let's just jump into it. The solved homicide case of Lisa Putman. Jacqueline and Josephine Varellin were sisters that grew up exactly the way they were raised, troubled. It was a drama-filled household with parents that just weren't good parents. I mean, they didn't have the set of life skills required to be really good role models. Like, as a parent, you need to instill certain values and, you need to create an independent fierceness that can set that child up to succeed in the world as a powerful, productive adult. Their parents, John and Simone, a jeweler and an owner of a nail salon, raised them pretty much the polar opposite of that. And it's actually surprising that both of them, they seem to have an entrepreneurial spirit, both of them, but it just failed on their children in so many ways. I mean, it's horrible. While Simone, the mother, was extremely unreliable, John worked a lot, and he never really was around. So Jacqueline and Josephine referred to their mother as the Dragon Woman and had told people that she was abusive. And I mean, though it never said which way, psychologically or physically, the girls, they had two foster brothers as well. An anonymous call, though, to CPS, the Child Protective Services, put a stop to that. Unfortunately, it later came out that the reported abuse was later revealed that Josephine, not an anonymous caller, is the one who made the call. Now, the foster children, they were removed from the household. But, I mean, it was 1990 back then. They were sent to live with their biological father. It's probably the best thing, according to the system. And the girls got a little older, and Josephine actually had already had two children in 1991. Their parents left the family home after paying the mortgage off. Why?
That's nuts. Especially, that's crazy. Okay, all right.
What seemed to be at the root of all their issues was the fact that Josephine and Jacqueline, they shared a home with the kids and kept it to a near hoarder level of disarray. Lisa Putman was a 28-year-old employee of Macomb County, specifically the Michigan Child Protective Services. She was put in charge of Josephine and Jacqueline Varellin's case regarding the living conditions of the children living in the home. Now, because they were hoarders, their house was piled high with trash, making it dangerous for the Josephine's kids to live there. Lisa had a pretty good relationship with Josephine. In-depth notes regarding her depression and her attachment to things that she couldn't part with, those were detailed in the case notes kept by Lisa. She assured Jacqueline and Josephine that she would only take the children out of their parents' house, and it wouldn't be a permanent thing, as long as they cleaned up the house and they made a concerted effort to make things better as far as living situations were concerned. Well, it appeared to work for a while, and they even had assistance with house cleaning. However, it never lasted. As soon as it would get cleaned, it would get dirty again, and it would spiral into a hoarding mess soon after. So by the time Lisa returned to see how the Varellin sisters were doing, the house was back in a complete state of disarray. Lisa had a job to do, and she informed the sisters that the kids would be taken away now permanently. Vanished. Thin air. No breadcrumbs, no texts, no calls to 911, nothing. Just gone. After Lisa's fiance and mother were unable to contact her, a missing persons complaint was filed on May 20th, 1998, around 5:30 a.m. The cops got directly to work on this inquiry because, she was a mandated reporter, and there's a lot of risks in that line of work. So the police went through her work schedule and discovered that Lisa's last appointment was at the Varellin sisters' house at 2 p.m. the day before. This was enough probable cause for them to enter the house and take a look around. Yeah. When the police arrived at the house, they were blown away by what they saw. There were literal ceiling-high mountains of trash inside the house, covering every single surface. There was even footage of the horrible living conditions where officers had discovered 6 cats and 1 dog in the house, along with an insane amount of animal feces and waste. It's disgusting. I'm surprised that they didn't find dead animals too. You always see that on the hoarders shows if you watch them like I do. Anyway, but they did also discover that the plumbing was broken. They were using buckets to use the restroom. So yeah, it wasn't fit for a kid. Who could argue with that? Well, apparently a couple people, but anyway. 1 mile from the home, Lisa Putman's missing automobile was also discovered abandoned. So that was enough reason to bring the girls in for questioning. It wasn't really enough probable cause, though, to get warrants from them. At least not yet.
Hold up.
ADHD moment.
Hold up. Hey.
Okay, oh my god, I'm addicted to the Casual Criminalist and Brain Blaze. It's a YouTuber named Simon Whistler. I've talked about him before. But he casually stated in one of his episodes that he could not understand why they just didn't check a trunk of a suspected murderer. Because you can't? Oh no, you can. In the UK, a senior officer can approve the search of your person or your vehicle. What? No, that is the 4th Amendment right here in the States. The first sentence of that friggin' amendment is the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against any unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall be issued upon probable cause, supported by an oath or an affirmation, meaning a judge, and particularly describing the place to be searched, the persons or things to be seized. So yeah, your ass better have a judge sign off on a warrant with probable cause that my attorney will agree with, because you ain't looking at crap in my pockets, my car, or nothing, or on my person, Mr. Officer Man. I thought the world was like that. Apparently not. Anyway.
An ADHD moment.
So we don't play.
Okay, back to the story. The police brought Josephine in after they picked her up from her hotel job, and Jacqueline was brought in by her father after being contacted by the police. Josephine was the first one to be interviewed, and she cracked immediately. She claimed that when they realized they wouldn't be able to keep the kids, that the next best thing to do would be just to snap and kill Lisa. She went on to explain that shortly after Lisa arrived for her scheduled check-in, it wasn't really going well, and Jacqueline came up behind her and hit her in the head with a hammer 6 times. It wasn't an easy takedown either. Lisa was said to have really suffered. She didn't die immediately either, which is what makes this especially cruel and callous to me. These 2 sisters overpowered an injured woman and then wrapped her in a trash bag. But Lisa was still fighting, God bless her, the entire time. The 2 women finally subdued her and taped her mouth shut and her nose shut. They put her in the flippin' bathtub, then went along with their day. After popping out to do a little shopping, they also picked the kids up from school, but when they got back, Lisa was finally dead. What a relief, right? Well, obviously, next, they had to dump the body somewhere. Well, when asked where Lisa's body was, radio silence. Fine. They had another girl to interview, so they're going to give old Jacqueline the chance to do the right thing for Lisa and her family. They're going to go at her even harder. So when Jacqueline was brought in and confronted more directly with a much more direct line of questioning.
It's about to go down.
When Jacqueline was brought in and confronted with a more direct and more hard style of questioning, that's when they started getting into the nitty gritty. They asked her how many times that she thought that she hit Lisa, and she responded, only once. Well, her sister's account of Lisa receiving 6 blows to the head was in conflict with the actual proof. In actuality, Lisa was hit a total of 22 times, but this is, she suffocated to death. She didn't die from all those blows to the head. She suffocated. There is no telling how long that poor woman slowly died, alone, cold, in pain, just because she was doing what was best for those kids. It blows my mind apart that things like this happen to these kind of people. But once Jacqueline and Josephine Varela knew that they were caught, they finally told investigators, good for them, where they hid Lisa's body. It was actually located in a wooded area, and they located her 2 days later based on the directions from the sisters. It was a slam dunk indictment, obviously. Jacqueline and Josephine were both charged with first-degree murder. Now, while they were initially charged with that first-degree charge, they actually pled down to a second-degree murder charge, and they pled guilty instead of no contest or, the offered plea or whatever. They actually did plead guilty to second-degree murder and kidnapping, resulting in Jacqueline being sentenced to 50 years in prison with the possibility of parole in 25 years, and Josephine being sentenced to 75 years with the possibility of parole in 50 years. Now, update. Breaking news. Well, sort of. And breaking news to me because, I just found this out. Well, Jacqueline, she's out. She's a free woman. She got out in April of 2022, and at first I was like, what the... But that just shows you how dumb I am, because it's been 24 years. So you idiot, stop whining. Oh, girl did her time, even though, my opinion.
Electric chair.
So anyway, Bill, that's it for this case. Now, this one's a tough one for me, because, if a sliver of what their childhood that was told to the public was even close to the details that came out, I can understand where these girls just didn't have a lot of the necessary moral and maturity foundation to make decent decisions as adults. But then again, murder, seriously, I actually do 100% believe that there's some sort of familial or hereditary mental issues that may also be intertwined with their DNA. And I'm not making, I'm mental illness shaming or anything like that. I take antidepressants every damn day after the horrific things that I put my little baby brain through in my 20s.
Be Jesus. Wish I could jump in there and roll around in all that cascading white powder. Yeah, just get high on all of life's splendor. God, I love cocaine.
No. So shut up. We're all a little nutty. Anyway, but they're almost cult-like bond, and their like-minded solutions of eliminating barriers. That holds a lot of merit when determining if they were actually in their right minds. So, I don't know, but just as you start to feel kind of a little empathy for Josephine and Jacqueline, let me leave you with this. Lisa, she never got to have her dream wedding. Remember, she was engaged. Her fiance was left holding pieces to a partnership that will now never happen. And it will live in perfection in his mind forever, never hitting rough patches or ever, even thinking of the word divorce or anything, it was just, as far as he knew, she was perfect for him. And her mother never got to be the mother of the bride and watch her little girl be given away to the man that had sworn to be her rock forever. So they both decided that it would only be fair that she got her wedding party. So she wasn't there in the flesh to experience it, but I'm sure that she was there in spirit. And from what I've read, everybody there could feel her warmth and love throughout the entire event. So now how do you feel about those sisters?
Hold my beer.
No, me too. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and watching me get emotional again. Seems like I do that every video. Anyway, we will see you soon in the next video. Bye!